Okay, guys, we have the next speaker. From speaking to speaking, Türker Karahan, Udo Games, fresh from the panel. Please, Udo.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's me again. So it was like from perspective of the different publishers to the perspective of a developer studio and also a self-publishing studio too. So today I'm here to talk about creating the perfect pipeline. I mean, when you're talking about pipeline, it's mostly about development pipeline. And I want to tell you some tips and some topics about how to create a team that's producing really great and producing really effectively in daily basis and in the way of bringing great games in quality and great games in the production speed too. So I'm here, Türker Karahan, CEO of the Udo Games, and as a person, I'm in the gaming industry like for almost 10 years. So I've been developing games for 10 years. I worked on lots of games, like including also even not only mobile games but also some PC games, console games, even though some a few VR games and AR games too. So till now, I had lots of different experiences on the pipeline side, and I had the chance to work with lots of different people too. So that's all. That's because one of the main topics I had to believe like I have to improve myself to create the great pipeline to make my team produce better games in quality and in speed, as I said before. So let's get into the topic fastly. So first of all, I have to say it depends because, as I said, since I worked on lots of different teams, I realized that it really depends on the team. It really depends on the project. I mean, the genre, the platform, the roles of the people. I mean, the talents you have in the team, the roles that you can vary in the team. It really depends on the deadlines, like when you are creating hyper casual games or when you are creating a PC game, you have really different deadlines. Like in hyper casual, you have like a week of deadline, maybe some days in on some projects. But as a PC game, you have a deadline like 2 years, 3 years, maybe depending on the project. So it also depends on the goals. I mean, if you feel like if you are trying to create the pipeline that you feel like you are investing on the production quality, you have to create a different pipeline. But if you feel like you have to create really fast prototypes and you have to test lots of different games, you should change your pipeline depending on those goals. So also it depends on the time you have. I mean, maybe you have different side projects that you need to create with your hyper casual goals or casual goals. So it also changes the pipeline of your team. So also it also depends on the workplace. I mean, even working offline and working from remote should change the pipeline. So you should create different roles and different pipeline styles depending on your workspace too. So we should be discussing more about these topics. So first of all, you have to analyze the situation. I mean, the topics that I taught before are actually one of the key metrics to analyze your team. As I said before, the roles in your team should be really well defined, and also it should be assigned equality in the manpower. I mean, you can give more than one roles to key persons or to key senior people actually in the team. But if they don't have the time, or if they don't have the energy to vary these roles, you will be failing. So you have to really separate equally in manpower because of this. So you have to have a good partner that won't make you slow down, or even that won't make you fail more in some topics. Even you can think it like you can have some partners. I mean, by saying partner, it could be a publisher, It could be an investor, or it could be a co-development studio that working with you, any partner that has key roles in the development cycle. uh, you should have really good partners that can make you grow up, not slow down. So one of the other must-haves are you have to have a good decision in making systems that won't stuck on the flow. I mean, when you are thinking about the pipeline, you have to think every detail. Uh, so these details could be about people, it could be about the workplace, it could be about technical stuff. So when you are testing your pipeline, you will see the problems eventually, and you have to find fast solutions to problems, and also you have to realize these problems in the fastest way to solve them also in the fastest way. So it's there are also three ways, three bonuses to have to analyze this situation. So a deadline system could sometimes work well for some teams. So there could be some teams that don't have a deadline system. I mean, we feel like sometimes we removed all the deadlines from the pipeline, and we thought like we can keep developing every game even though we don't have any deadline, and we won't be struggling producing them in the fast way or producing them in the best quality way. So it works sometimes for some people, actually also for some days, depending on the depending of the behavior of the people, also behavior of the product, even that you will be having some technical issues when you are developing some games too, that needs some technical investment. So it sometimes helps you to improve the quality and also speed of your product. So a great feedback system is always a great booster for the team. I mean, it should be both inside of the team that, like, from our perspective, that we have 6 games being developed in parallel. So not everybody knowing each other's games. So sometimes we go to each other and show our games that has no idea about other person, and please give me some quick feedbacks about the game. How do you feel when you are playing this game, or how do you feel? What kind of bugs or what kind of problems do you see in the game? So these tips, this feedback mechanism from the inside, always helps to improve the quality of the product. Also, sometimes it even help you to find these bugs or these technical problems in your product, and it help you to solve these problems in the fastest way. But only a feedback mechanism from inside is not enough. So sometimes we have some product owners or some product managers that goes to random places like in a cafe or in a Starbucks, that and give some random people to play or to test our game and give some feedbacks. So taking feedbacks from non-players or non-developers is a great way to increase your product quality. So that's one of the bonuses to have. And also a perfect workplace that won't cause you some technical issues, or also that won't make you lose focus when you are developing your game or when you are testing a game even. It's really one of the bonuses to have. I can even add this topic to a must to have, because if you have lots of stuff that makes you cause some technical issues, like it can be a slow internet, or it can be a bad computer that slows down your developers or your artists workflow. It's a really bad stuff for the structure that you are trying to place. And also a well focusable workplace is really important. I mean, some studios solve it like everyone is working remotely. So I have a team that can work remote, and they focuses really well when they are only by themselves. It's one of the solutions, but it doesn't work always. Some people can't work very well or can't focus when they are alone in their home. So it sometimes don't work for some people. So you have to think about it. You have to calculate these elements very well, and you have to create a really great workplace for your team. So there are a few tips that I experienced in the near past, and also mostly in the hyper casual genre, that you have to create in fast way, and also you have to create in a good product quality. That's actually always two opposite genres. If you want a good product, you have to have a wider time to create this good product. But also, as we discussed before, you always have to react really fast to the new upcoming genres, or new upcoming social trends, upcoming new mechanics that you have to create, or you have to test some in your prototypes. So it's really key to create a really well system in the hypercasual side. So I really want to give this advice as the first one, as I said, game artist plus game engine, meaning I saw that lots of studios working with their artists like only as a outsource content creator. I mean, I heard that there are some artists that only creating content. I mean, they create some models, they create some animations, they create some UI elements, and they zip it, or they send it to developer of the product, or send it to the product owner via a Slack, or via a email, or etc. When I heard that, I was really shocked, and I was like, a game artist should fully work with a developer, and also fully work with his game designer, his product owner, anyone in the same product, totally in the game engine. Like the first thing we are teaching our game artists is, if they don't know, you should learn about Unity. You should learn really good stuff in the Unity side, and also you should be good in this game engine side. You should create some scenes in the game engine. You should create some particles in the game engine. Even sometimes you should create animations via the engine, etc., etc. This varies a lot. I mean, there are some shader genres that game artists can really well work in this side. There are lightning topics, there are shadows, etc., etc. This really varies depending on the skill set of your game artist, and we believe, and I personally really believe, that you should invest on these topics to your game artist. The second is version control systems. This is also related to the game art, but not only themselves, not only about them. It's also about game designers, product owners, or even sometimes creative artists. Not sometimes, always about the creative artist that is working on the product itself. So version control systems are really important to fasten your product speed, and also to test more stuff on your game. I mean, think about a game fully finished and fully testable. A creative artist can easily download the project actually via a version control system. And if also he or she knows about the game engine, he or she could create a custom scene and create great creatives via this game engine and via version control system. A little bit further step, it can create a new branch to create new creatives, and it doesn't affect any flow of the original producer or original game artist and game developer of the project. So using version control systems more in details and more effectively really affects the speed and quality of your product. So this is really one of the most important topics and one of the most important tips that I can give to you. So third one is creating a game design document, actually, in general. So when I'm saying game design document, most of the people thinks like a game design document is a really really complex way of defining a game. You have to add every detail to the game design document. You have to write lots of stuff. You will waste time in general. Yes, we had thought like we had times that thinking I can tell the game to the developer or to the artist in 2 minutes. Why should I create a game design document or any other document to explain this stuff to the producers of the game? There are a few things that you need to create a document. Not you don't have to create a fully detailed game design document. You can create your own content or your own sub documents depending on your designer, game designer, or also depending on the team that is producing the game, what they want or what kind of document they need, they think they need. So sometimes it can be only a drawing that has details in it, that you can create a drawing that explains every stuff with some arrows explaining the behavior of the character or behavior of the mechanic, and also even explaining every detail with only small notes. It can even be enough to create a document. But sometimes if the game is getting more complex, when you are creating the game design document or the document, you realize the missing points of the design. So because when you are creating a document, you try to focus on every details on the design, game design. So when you focus fully on the design, you realize the missing parts, and that helps you to fill these gaps, and that helps you to create the best design at the end of the day. So even when if you are a designer, game designer, or if you are the one of the persons in the team that creates game designs, please try to create some documents. Even it could be by only yourself. Even if you don't need to give this document to the producers of the game, you will see the differences between the design quality at the end of the day. So the fourth one is about planning. As I wrote, plan, always plan. So uh, it's not only nowadays, but it's been a long time that I always think about the production pipeline in the team. So I was like one of the roles that head of production, you can say, or head of the one that is responsible of the production flow in the both speed, production speed, and also in the both average quality of the products that we gave to our publisher or that we try in-house the team. So I was always planning actually. So there is a plan, there is a current production pipeline that is written or that is that is drawn as a pipeline, as a flow nowadays. But I always think like, if I change it like this, what happens? Then okay, then I should add some new stuff to here, or even there comes a few days that I realize there are missing parts of the plan. So again, I have to think new ways to change the plan, etc., etc. There is only one small tip here, that changing the system a lot mostly harms the focus of the team. So just be careful about changing all the stuff more frequently. But if you realize that the plan is not working, don't be afraid of changing every stuff on the plan. You can create a full empty page, and you can create all the pipeline from the start in a more focused way, and maybe even discussing the plan with lots of different people and taking advices from them, analyzing the problems of the pipeline a lot, and plan a lot, and find better production pipelines by planning a lot. So the fifth one is more tests, meaning better quality. So there are a few meaning in this. The first is, of course, I'm talking about game tests. So if you want a product that is really good on quality, you have to test it really well. I mean, I realized studios, or I realized my even in-house teams, that they feel like they have to finalize the product in the fastest way. And when they feel like they created the product in a really fast way, it's they feel like testing it in the fastest way is the best option, but it's not actually. You have to test a lot every product you will be testing on the Facebook or on the TikTok or any other social platforms to see the potential of the game. So if you believed into the design, and you gave your time to create this product, you also have to test it more to make it in better in quality, meaning to see the potential in the data. So if you have a buggy game, or if you have a low quality game, that's meaning it could be low in the graphic side, it could be bad performing in the performance side, it could be anything, or it could be a full of bug game that is not working really well. So by testing a lot, you will realize much more problems. But also, that doesn't mean, as a small tip, you should be creating perfect prototypes to test. It's not about getting the perfect prototype, but it's more about seeing the potential in the best way of your product. So the sixth one is mostly about the small studios. I mean, there are lots of studio in the hyper casual genre that works only of 3 to 4 people or 6 people, including only developers, artists, or one of them is also a game designer too. So I know that as a startup, or as a game studio, as a new game studio, you feel like you have to do some business stuff to increase your team, to increase the capacity of your team, or to increase your valuation in the investment side, etc., etc. There are lots of stuff that you can invest in the business side, but don't forget that in the hyper casual side, your most helpful stuff in the business side is your product. So without finding the best product, I mean the hit game in the end, with good KPIs, with good revenue, or with good profit, you won't be doing any good business in the end. So, but on the other side, if you have a good product, if you have a hit game, or if you have a really good scaled game at the end of the day, the business will be much more easier to keep going, or to keep improving your team, your product capacity, your investment side, your valuation, etc., etc. So please feel only focused on your product. And of course, you will have to waste time on business side. I mean, it's not wasting, but invest time on the business side. But please try to keep it really less, to have better products in your team. So from the planning side, you, you can think it like a more scheduled way. I mean, as I said before, you have a white page, and you create a setup for your team. So the setup is meaning you have a pipeline, like we are getting the idea, we are creating a game design document, we are separating the different ideas to the different teams in the best way, and we are testing the game, etc., etc. You created a production pipeline at the end of the day. So you try it in a few days, in a few months, or even in a few games with your team. So you will realize that you will fail in some teams or in some products, that this setup is not working well. It's totally fine. It's happening for all the teams like us, or like much more bigger teams in the industry. So don't forget to reschedule it. Don't get fair to reschedule it. So reschedule it. Change a few tips in your production pipeline. Try again, fail again, test again, etc., etc. There is a loop here, as you see. So the planning side is actually mostly about this: set up, try, fail, and set up again, reschedule again, etc., etc. So there are a few tips here. So as I said, don't be afraid to fail. Even failing is the best way to find your problems and solve them. So when you are solving much more problems, you will realize that you are having much more better production pipelines. So as I said before, schedules and deadlines are your bestie, because that will help you to find the best way in the production speed side. So the roles in the team can be changed. I mean, you can create some sub roles that will help the production pipeline a lot. So please think about some different roles that you don't have before. I mean, like it. How can I give example here? Like we take our first game designer 1.5 year ago as a 9 years old company. Think about it. Before that, we were doing all the game design side, including level designs, including iterations to the game, planning the iterations to the game, etc., etc. But when we realized that we actually need a game designer, and we actually had a game designer, we realized that it was one of the missing roles that on our production cycle. So it helped a lot. But after the upcoming days, and when we are growing our team, like from 16 people to from 40 people, we realize there are much more missing roles in the team, like an animator, a technical artist, a creative artist, etc., etc. So depending on your team size, or depending on the talents of your team, please think about some sub roles that can help the production pipeline a lot. So there is not a perfect pipeline in the end. You will try lots of different setup and you will fail a lot, but at the end you will feel like you are getting to the best one in every trial. So please test lots of different stuff, and also don't think like changing in a few small tips won't help you a lot in the production pipeline. It helps actually. As I said, there are some magic touches to the production pipeline that can increase the potential of the team a lot. So you are the one who will be finding these ways, or you are the one who will be doing these magic touches in eventually at the upcoming days. So don't forget that there are billions of parameters in the team. So you have to create a pipeline that can adapt to any situation. I mean, there can be new people in the team, there can be living people, there can be a change in the environment of your team. Uh, Suddenly, there can be a new investor in the team, and it can it can ask for new stuffs for your production cycle, etc., etc. So there are lots of parameters that will be changing your cycle, and that will make you feel like you have to change your production cycle. So that's why you don't be afraid of the changes, or you don't be afraid to change your production cycle a lot at the end of the day, if you are changing lots of the different outsource parameters into the team. So there is no pipeline that can cover up laziness. That's one of the best phrases that I love here. So that's one of the best topics we are discussing a lot in the team. I mean, you can create a you can create the best pipeline for your team, but you will realize that it's not working. And mostly when you were analyzing that, why is it not working and what is the exact problem here, you will be realizing that there are some laziness in it in the team. So there will be a few people that will be stuck in the pipeline, and it's mostly about avoiding stuff, avoiding responsibilities, uh, becoming a time waster, etc., etc., or also becoming a downgrader for the team. So please be careful about these people, and don't forget that these people will be affecting the pipeline a lot. So I'm missing a few times here, so I will be going a little bit faster. So it's not a habit for the team. I mean, the production pipeline is a helper for the team, and also a personal. You can think it as a personal trainer that will be pushing the team to grow themselves, to educate themselves, and to increase the production quality and also the production speed. So, lastly, consider about product managers, product owners, or whatever the title is for your team that will be only focusing on the product side, the output of the product, and you will realize that it will be helping to improve the team size and team capacity. So, lastly, after lots of different trials and lots of different new ways, you will be realizing that there is a huge increase in the production quality. You will feel like you are doing this job in a better professionalism way, and at the end of the day, you have to create a professionalism in the team. You have to be a good professional, both for your team and also both as a company, as a studio, and to become a stronger studio and to become a more hit ratio on your products. You have to increase your you have to be a better pipeline in your team, and also a happy team is uh, coming with a good pipeline, and a good working system will be always a booster for the team, so don't forget that too. So at the end of the day, please remember product first, and a succeeded product will erase any bad memories at the end of the day. So thanks for listening to me, and thanks for the Hyper Game conference for bringing me this opportunity to me. Hello,
Thank
Alexander.
you. Thank you for this great speech. Unfortunately, we have no time left for the for questions, but I'll drop the questions we have into the general chat, and I would appreciate if you can answer them there in text. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Atman. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.